Tyler Booker, he's wired the right way. And, of course, there's Terrence Steele, who's the guy that, again, he's just been here the longest of those guys. But, like, even Dak feels it. Like, the
Damn, he couldn't even think. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Attack on Cowboys. It's time to check out and see what the shot caller, Brian Schottenheimer, has to say ahead of his matchup with the New York Giants this weekend. Be sure to subscribe for more Dallas Cowboys content just like this, and the full interview without my interruptions can be found on the Dallas Cowboys YouTube channel. Let's get right into it.
Shut your up.
Shotty. Let's see what Shotty got for us today. I seen a couple of snippets. Not snippets verbally or anything, but like actual like people typing stuff out. And I think I'm gonna like a lot of what we're about to hear today. Let's go ahead and listen.
Is it fake juice? It can't be fake juice. Not with you guys. No way.
Does Todd have makeup on?
Wow.
No?
He says it's fake juice. It
No,
can't
it
be
must be-
fake juice. Is it fake
TV.
juice?
Yeah, he's doing
So I'd
TV.
be thinking-
Yeah, this is like the
thinking
ninth
we'll-
media thing I've done today. So if I'm keeping it short and sweet, you guys know why.
Because we'll get a walk-off.
Maybe.
I like that. Shotty kind of letting us know, like, hey, I'm not for all this media stuff, bro.
Maybe. We'll see how you guys. If you guys are nice. If you guys are nice to me, I'll let you guys have a walk.
Be a good man. Be a good boy.
I'm trying.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. What is the playing status of Daron Bland?
Yeah, I think Daron will miss this week. Again, I'm not going to put a timetable on it.
Okay, fair enough.
And he'll get back as soon as he can, but we will be without him this week.
Fair
Plan
enough.
To replace him, and also you have some other things to do on the nickel. What do you do with those two things?
Yeah, again, the beautiful thing about Daron is the flexibility that he gives you. Calvin, I mean, just the ability to play inside, outside, all that stuff. So we've got some different packages that we're going to use. We've used the safety down there some. We can play a little bit more base defense, but also, you're going to see Reddy Stewart play a lot of football.
Oh, interesting. So they said they're going to be using the safeties rolling down some. They're going to play a lot more base defense. And then he said Reddy Stewart's going to play a lot of football. So he gave us a lot of stuff right there. Oh, interesting.
This is why you make those moves. When you get to final cuts and you cut the roster down, you see a player that you like, that you haven't been around, and you make those moves. That's kind of why you do it. And the benefit for him is he knows Fluce's system. And what we love about him going all the way back to his days in college is his ability to take the ball away. I think it was 12. You might check me on that. 12 interceptions or something like that in college. And so he'll get quite a bit of action.
Interesting.
This is the business you're in, but it's frustrating a little bit that you haven't really had all your pieces on defense. Like even going back to Micah, and now you lose Bland here in week 2.
Yeah, you don't think of it that way. You just adjust and adapt, and it's the nature of the business. And
Bro, y'all already knew I was about to snap. These dudes cannot go 2 minutes into a press conference without bringing this dude's name up, bro. And what kills me about this the most, I got to go on a mini rant. I know this is already a 20-minute reaction. I got to go on a mini rant. What kills me about this the most, bro, Kenny Clark has been more productive than Micah. Kenny Clark was a more productive player in week 1 than Micah Parsons was for the Packers in week 1. Kenny Clark had more of an impact for our defense overall than Micah Parsons had for the Packers defense. And that's not even me trying to throw shots at Micah or nothing, but bro, Micah was barely playing. He had 1 sack in garbage time and a couple of overhyped pressures, bro. And it's amazing me now that all of a sudden the NFL feels like the best stat for a defender now is pressures. All of a sudden, now that Micah's off the Cowboys, now he's getting holding calls. Pressures are the best thing since sliced bread. Bruh, all right, it ain't personal, reporters. I know I've been snapping on y'all. It's not personal. I just really am displeased with the way y'all do y'all job sometimes, bro.
We all have to deal with it at different times of the season, and we've talked about there's help on the way. But again, I'm very confident in Reddy and the guys that we have and the plan. We have to go out and execute it. And but yeah, injuries are part of the game. You hate to see them happen, and when they do, though, it's supporting the player to get them back as soon as you can, which Daron will do.
Clarence Hill, DLLS Cowboys. How does Diggs' situation complicate things? Last week he played mainly just nickel and in the base defense. And how does his situation complicate? Is he ready for more of a load to play in the base defense?
Yeah, I think he'll play some more. Again, is it going to be a full game? We'll see kind of how he's feeling. But there is a ramp-up thing that we've talked quite a bit about. I thought he did play really, really well. I think he's practicing at an extremely high level. That's exciting for us. You'll see him in some more packages than just the one you saw last week. That was.
And for those of y'all that keep coming in, it's a specific dude that keep commenting on my channel trying to low-key check me about my Trevon Diggs take. I said what I said about Diggs until proven otherwise, so he can stay healthy for the entire season and prove that he can be a positive impact not only this team, not only his own personal brand, but this damn locker room, bro. And stop gobsocking everybody outside the locker room, then I feel the way I feel. And as long as the facts remain, they can't afford to pay 2 corners that type of money with the salary cap the way it is, bro. They can't afford to do that. And not even with the salary cap, with them wanting to do more and having to pay other guys, they can't afford to keep 2 premiumly paid corners, bro. So unless Diggs is going to restructure his joint or take some type of pay cut or something, which he's probably not, especially if he has a good year, bro, my take has nothing to do with being super emotionally charged about Diggs, bro. It's about looking at the tea leaves, looking at the facts that's presented. And the facts that are presented is they are going to have potentially a very difficult decision coming up. And if he doesn't perform the way that's going to make it more difficult to have that decision or have that conversation, and if he doesn't carry himself in a way that's going to make it more difficult to have that conversation, then Diggs is logically the choice there. That's period, bro. I man, ain't about to be playing with y'all. Y'all ain't about to check me on nothing. I said what I said.
Again, part of the plan, but again,
and shut y'all asses. I already know y'all about to be, oh, why are you stopping the video? Hey, man, I got to. It's called copyrights, bro. It's called copyrights. And plus, if y'all want to watch the full video, I just told y'all at the beginning, man, watch it on DallasCowboys.com. Watch it on Dallas Cowboys YouTube channel, and you ain't got to worry about me interrupting.
He's going to play the entire game. I'm not ready to say that yet. We'll see how he does in practice today. And, again, they've got some weapons. I mean, Malik Neighbors is obviously an extremely young superstar, I think. And, again, they'll be difficult to keep a top on, you know.
Speaking of Reddy, is he more of a slot guy? Does he play outside? How do you?
Yeah, he's more comfortable inside. You know, he's more comfortable. He played outside some for Minnesota in the preseason. He's more a better fit to play inside just because of his instincts, and he's a really good blitzer. And so I think he's more comfortable inside, especially being new to the system. And not the system, the team.
I like that.
Question: if Reddy's more comfortable inside and Diggs does not get the full load outside, who's the other option to play outside for if Diggs is not going to go for it?
Yeah, we're going to look at some different things.
Damn, Clarence got 8 questions back to back.
Again, we'll be watching today's practice. We got some good competition going on out there.
Brian Todd Archer with ESPN. Is this an early part of the season? There's always these unknowns, or is this a week 1 through 18 scenario where you're always kind of juggling things?
You're always juggling. That's the thing I think that's different for me is, just being in this role, all I cared about was, okay, who are we getting up offensively? And now you're kind of going through the process and, okay, well, hey, we've got this move that we have to make. And, okay, hey, here you are. And with, Winfrey, his situation, okay, what do we do? How do we adapt? All that stuff. But, it's 24/7 conversation. But, again, like I've said, one of the benefits for me being a new head coach but being here, Todd, is that, again, very seamless conversations with Will McClay, Jerry Stephen. We'll get together today a little bit to kind of have our final conversations, see how practice goes today. Today's our Friday. It's our last day really running.
Peep game, y'all. Keep noticing he brings up, every time he talks about who he talks to in the front office, he brings up Will McClay first a lot, man. I'm telling y'all, Jerry and them are not meddling as much as y'all think they are.
Which is different. Usually we practice on Saturday the last couple of years, but it's the nature of the beast, man. And again, that's why you have the rosters that you have, and you have the elevations, and you have to be very strategic with what you do because there's limitations to how you can do those things.
In the last 2 years, this team's lost 2 Hall of Fame offensive linemen. How comforting is it to have a guy like Tyler Smith ready to, I don't want to say become a Hall of Famer, but to have him around?
Yeah, again, Tyler's I think he's the best guard in football. I don't think I'm being
The Giants game is in 2 days. That was the question.
I don't think I'm overselling him. I really think he is. But here's what I love. I love the mindset of our football team right now. And what I want to point to is the physicality of the offensive line, the way they're playing. I mean, Tyler Guyton took a step last week, I thought, with just the way he played the game, the physicality. We all know who Tyler Smith is. Cooper Beebe, I mean, his command and leadership is awesome. Tyler Booker, he's wired the right way. And, of course, there's Terrence Steele, who's the guy that, again, he's just been here the longest of those guys. But, even Dak feels it.
Damn, he couldn't even think. He couldn't even give Terrence Steele a superpower. He said he's just the guy that's been here the longest.
Javante feels like those guys. There's an urgency, man. And they want to play the game the right way, and that's exciting.
I'm Sean with The Athletic. How do you say things
Steve.
with you and Clayton in week 1 in the communication and things like that? And just kind of how do you think that can grow? Obviously, he's the guy that's up in the booth and not on the sidelines.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing. Clayton probably wants to jump out of the booth every 5 or 10 plays because he's, most of these, tight end O-line guys, right? They're used to being down on the field. But me being the play caller, you need a great set of eyes, which certainly Clayton has a great set of eyes up in the box. And I thought the communication was really, really good. He's quick to be able to diagnose things. He shares the information very, very well. He and I find the pockets of time time to make sure we're on the same page. But again, when you've got a guy like Clayton that's an elite coach and he's an elite communicator, it allows you to get the information that you need in a tight window because you're trying to make the adjustments.
Am I the only one that find myself like shaking my head? Yes. Like the whole time I'm listening to Brian Schottenheimer talking, like my head's like shaking. Yes. I promise I'm not listening to music. I'm agreeing.
Stuff, but you got your head coaching duty, so you kind of have to stay, close to the action. But I thought it was very, very good, and it'll get better just because, again, the more comfortable you get,
You mentioned the other day, I think, his sense of humor. When does he get a chance to show that? Because he's not going to show it to us when he's sitting where he's sitting.
You guys have got to get him a couple beers, have him, have a social or something. But it's honestly every day. It's every day. It's in front of the offense. It's in front of the coaching staff. That's just the way he's wired. And again, I like it. It's great. It's good for the players. They like it. It relaxes them. Again, I say it all the time, man. We're so blessed to play this game and coach this game. And if you can't have fun doing it, then why would you do it?
Nick Harris, Forward Star Telegram. We saw Devontae Turpin's integration into the offensive training camp really take a step forward, coming into this second contract that he's got. We saw him on the field in week 1 being used either as a decoy or putting the ball in his hands. How valuable is a piece like him in the offense you're trying to construct here early?
Well, good question. It was just a little kind of a long-winded question because of the extra information about the second contract, which has nothing to do with the question. Like, I get it, but like everybody know he got a second contract. We ain't got to keep bringing up these dudes' contracts and money and use the money and contract as the motivation for why we have to ask a question. The motivation was we all knew that Turpin was going to get more run. We saw what they did with him in training camp. So it's like, okay, you don't have to add that extra information. That was a great question.
Well, we want to be multiple, Nick, and he's a guy that gives you that. He's playing more receiver right now. I think the reason for that is, he is truly
And I'm reacting, y'all. All of this ain't mean-spirited, commentary. I'm reacting. Calm down, bro. Yeah, I'm critiquing everything. I'm making sure the reporters are on point, too.
Weapon, his speed is different, and he's developed. He's earned that. He's earned the ability to play more receiver, and of course, anytime you can get him the ball, teams are smart. They don't want to kick to him. You saw Philadelphia truly just kick it out of bounds on punts because they didn't want to mess with him. So it's our job as a coaching staff to use him. And again, I say this a lot, but it's worth saying. He is learned how to piece the package together, and because now he's so confident in learning our system and how we move him in so many different spots, the sky's the limit. But he doesn't need much space, and you get the ball in his hands and there's no telling what he can do with it.
With Mozzie Smith, a couple of his best performances in his career have been against the Giants. Do you factor that in going into making game day decisions, or is it more about what he's done?
Great question.
Yeah, it's more. Again, I agree with you. He's played really well against the Giants, but it's not about that. You don't say, hey, this guy, he's got the magic answer against the Giants. It's more about, hey, what are we seeing in practice, and what are we seeing in meetings, and is he competing every day the way he's supposed to? And the answer to that is he's been good this week. He's having a really good week. That doesn't guarantee anything. It's a deep roster.
Yo, Shotty ain't playing, bro. Hey, Shotty is laying down the letter of the law, man. You have to show me consistency over a period of time, not just a good week of practice, not just a good couple days of practice. I need to see you put together a couple of good weeks, a few good weeks before I feel confident enough to put you out there on that field and give you some of the responsibility of my job title. Because that's what that is. Anytime these coaches are putting players on the field, bro, y'all got to realize they are putting some of their faith into these players to help them keep a job. So I absolutely, if Shotty ain't comfortable playing guys, man, let him get comfortable before he put them boys out there. I like that. Great question by Nick, though. I ain't gonna lie.
We feel very good about our defensive line, our depth, both interior and outside. And, it doesn't guarantee anything, but we'll see how he does today. And that compete every day mantra is real.
Tommy Arshdows, Cowboys.com. You and Dak have both talked about kind of those seam balls to the tight ends, and he and Jake seem to really be on the same page in 23. First of all, just how difficult of a pass is that in your experience for quarterbacks to make, and then when they miss time playing together, how difficult is it to reestablish that? I know he kind of underthrew some of some of those back in week 1.
Yeah, it really is. It's kind of a me to you throw, Tommy. there's I thought he made a good one to Brev down the middle of the field, and then he kind of left the one short on Ferg, and then Ferg really, the one he got the penalty against for getting hit. I thought he could have made that play. It's all timing, and they're not gonna miss very often.
I love that, man. He didn't give them an excuse, or he got knocked out. No, he said, I thought he could have made that play. Facts.
It's one of the most beautiful plays in football when you hit those things, and the reason that is because usually when you're doing it, most of those were split safety, cover 2, which we're going to get quite a bit of because of the excellent edge pieces we have. There's different ways to throw it. You can back shoulder a guy if the mic's playing high, and if the mic's sitting low, you throw it over the top. So that's why it's such a me to you throw, because again, the coverage not just the coverage, but the technique of the guy running down the middle of the field affects the type of throw it is. And that's why you'll see those guys before and after practice working and talking about all those throws. And again, this is something that's not just physical. Like, these guys spend time a lot talking about, hey, what'd you see here? Where, hey, I was thinking I was going to do this, or hey, Dak, I thought you were going to put the ball there. And that's the magic, man. That's why, you have confidence, because they're talking through scenarios. And I think the ball should go on here. Well, okay, I was expecting you to do this. Then they hash it out and they kind of come up with a agreement of, okay, yeah, I see it the same way.
And then Sunday's the 1,000th game in franchise history. Jerry said his greatest player in franchise history was Roger Staubach. I know you're a football junkie. Do you have one, maybe favorite moment?
Well, I mean, I used to live at the 12. Again, I was actually on the 12th floor. And the funny thing about the 12 was the 12th floor at the 12 is all about Roger. And literally, I would catch myself coming home late at night, and being the football junkie that I am, I literally would walk, and he's got the letter where the Cowboys selected him, right? And then there's all these different photos of him, holding up trophies and things like that. But I mean, just the ability to lead the team back, and I just love that, because I think that's where the game is always going to be, and that's why it's so exciting, is the ability to be, what was it, Captain Comeback? That was his nickname. He just was an unbelievable player, and truly one of the first incredible improvisers. I just remember the athlete, man, and it's like, now you watch today's game, and it's like, that's all you get. I mean, if you can't move as a quarterback today in this game, you wouldn't play. So it's so cool to think what he was doing 40, 50 years ago, and how the game has evolved to where they're all like that now.
And I love that Shotty keeps emphasizing that he believes in that. If you can't move as a quarterback, you can't play, because that lets you know that he's not going to let Dak get to a point to where he's a statue in the pocket, man. He's going to be encouraging Dak to move around, bro, and that is very encouraging to hear as a fan.
I know you don't want to put a time frame on Glenn, but are you confident that it's not going to be longer term like it was last year at this point?
Yeah, again, I mean, I know this. Daron's going to do everything in his power to get back, and he's motivated. He wants to get back. He's in a good spot, and again, we'll see. These things, they're different, and so to put a timeline on it right now would be unfair to him. But I do know this: he's been here all day, all night, trying to get right.
You alluded to this earlier, spending a lot of time worrying about cornerback and not so much about quarterback at the moment. How are you enjoying sort of the CEO aspect of things?
I do more media than I'm used to, and that's part of the gig. I get that, but again, I when I'm able to do the football, which is more than you would think, it just makes for some later nights, which is fine. I'm kind of a night owl. I've moved my radio show. Mike used to go at like 6:30 in the morning. I'm not doing that, because I'm a night owl. I'm not a morning person. But it's been great. And again, the best part of it, truly, the best part of it is the leading of these young men and connecting with these young.
I love that he's not like embracing the whole media and the pageants. I love that, man, because if the head coach isn't embracing it and he doesn't care about all that, then you know that's the tone that's being set for everybody else too. It's like, man, we're not getting involved with all that. I'm not getting involved with all of that.
Young man, and there was something yesterday I'm not going to share with you guys, where one of our players was going through something very difficult, and just to be able to close the door and sit with him for 30 minutes and cry and share and talk. I love that, and I think that's one of the strengths of mine, is I truly am a compassionate person that loves these guys, and those aren't just words that I put out there for the world to impress people. I really don't care. That's who I am, and that's more important than the X and O's. I'll stay up late and get the X and O's done.
Garrett.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports Prime. You were emotional in the national anthem before your first game as the Cowboys head coach. What would that feeling be like for you after getting your first regular season win as the Cowboys head coach?
I hope it's one of many. It's not about winning one game. It's not about your first game. Again, I plan on being here a long time, and I'm just excited to get the home game started. I know the fans should be excited about where we're going and what we're trying to do. And
absolutely, Shotty, we are.
Really
we are excited, Shotty.
Home fans and play well and hopefully get a division win.
And shut up! You're talking over the man. Shut up! Go read a copyright book.
Joe.
Joe White, Dallas Morning News. You talked about Matty Eberflus's adaptability, and we saw it after the break against Philly this week when you lose a guy like Daron Bland, who is so multiple. How have you seen Eberflus's kind of adaptability behind the scenes play out this week?
Yeah, again, what I would say about him is, like, he's the same guy every day. That's what I love about him. You can see the maturity in him as a coach. I'm kind of more of I get up and down. I get a little bit of a temper. But I think, Matt has just been like this, man. And it's part of the game, and he knows that. And there's not much he hasn't seen in his 30-plus years or whatever it is coaching. And I love that about the guy. I respect that about the guy, because there's a lot of people in this business, man. It's like when you're winning and you're playing good, they're up here and everybody's happy and high-fiving. And then when you're losing, they don't talk to anybody. And, I don't change, man. Like, I walked in here Friday morning and saw one of the scary guys. Like, hey, what's up, man? You're not going to change. I'm not going to change who I am, because I'm authentic, and this is a long-ass season.
You mentioned being a night
Hell
owl,
yeah.
What does that look like the night before a game?
I sleep great. It's really more for me. We'll have meetings the night before. Tomorrow night we'll have some meetings, hit some little touch point things we have to hit. You'll do that on noon games and 3:25 games, primetime games. We don't bring them in. We'll bring them in the next morning. But yeah, I'll finish up the things I need. I'll practice calling the game a couple times with Tyler Boyles and go home and sleep like a baby, and I'll be up early.
I'll practice calling the games a couple of times. He's giving us gems in all these little interviews, but how do you not like what this man is doing with his team?
Because of the noon game, but excited about getting to AT&T.
Sakis of The Athletic. Brian, earlier this week you talked about having a number of targets for receivers at times. What goes into setting that number week to week, and how far down the depth chart do you go with that?
Yeah, again, it's literally the way you do it is, as you build your plan, you've got, primary receivers, secondary receivers. So as you put it together, you say, okay, hey, who's the primary on this one? If it's CeeDee Lamb, it goes in the CeeDee Lamb chart. If it's George Pickens, it goes in the George Pickens chart. If it's Javonte Williams, it goes in Javonte Williams, Terp, and so on and so on and so on. Some guys have more than others, but most guys are on there. But the size of the sheet, I think I said yesterday, CDs look like this. It's one that we're flexible, and it's truly where you can actually look at it and say, okay, it's third down and the game's on the line.
CD.
The way I think of calling, game on the line type plays or end of game plays, you think of players, not plays. That was beat into my head by my father many, many years ago. Don't think of plays, think of players. So that's one of those deals where you look at the call sheet and you're like, okay.
I love that. Hey. You give the ball to your best players and you make them make plays. And we saw him put that into action last week with CD. And you live and die by your best players, bro. You live and die by your best players, and you make them guys be the stars of that team. And you don't get to a point where you're looking at the call sheet and you're like, damn, how did Jake Ferguson have 15 targets and CD only had 3? You know what I'm saying? Because we've seen stuff like that happen in the past. Maybe not necessarily like that drastic, but I love that.
This says number 3, George Pickens. Okay, I like that. Oh, the secondary receiver, CeeDee Lamb. Let's go with that one. And that's a big part of calling plays, man. Get it to your best players.
How does game flow factor into that? Meaning, if you have 15 as the target for CD going into the game, but he only has 3 targets in the third quarter, how do you operate through that?
Well, again, the first thing you do is you look at the situation of the game. How many plays have we had? Are we running the ball great? If we're running the ball great, then he might not have the same amount of targets. And again, the big part of this business is adapting and adjusting.
Good question.
And, again, I'll say this about George. I think I said it earlier in the week. The thing about George, he had the 4 targets. He was totally into the game. He was great. And a big part of that is your communication with them about, hey, what do you see and what do you like? And the players understand.
And for all you goofballs that keep, CD and George, they weren't trying. If Shotty ain't said nothing about it in his press conference, because I believe he would if he had an issue with it. If he ain't said nothing about it, SYBAU.
The game goes certain ways, and last week we had 25 minutes time possession. Imagine if we would have had 30, and we can help ourselves by converting third downs in the second half. But I think it does affect it. But again, when the game is on the line, you're going to try to get the ball to your best players.
Brad Sham, Cowboys Radio 105.3 The Fan. Dak was asked yesterday how he thought the play calling went, and he kind of smiled and giggled like he had a secret that he knew. And he said, yeah, it was pretty good. What did you think of it?
I thought it was good. I thought it was okay. I'm always going to be my hardest grader, I guess. I'll be honest with you. You call good plays, and they don't.
Way Brad Sham just framed that. This is why we listen to the reporters. Y'all, I literally just reacted to all the players during their interviews, and that is not what happened. Dak smiled, and he seemed like he was like, yeah. It was more like a confirmation of, yeah, I'm rocking with it. He said, I like it. He has some moxie. What Brad Sham did not present that properly at all. He did not present that properly at all, bro.
Don't work. You call bad plays and they work, and that's kind of the magic of the players. And
that was messy. No, that was messy. That was messy because that leaves room for interpretation where you're like, oh, he kind of smiled and giggled like he had a secret. And what did you think about the play calling? What? No, you should have said he smiled and said you had moxie, and he liked the way that you called plays. He liked how you called. Bro, Dak specifically answered that question. I liked it.
Coaches.
No.
Truly, I really, and I do this for a living, but coaches are overrated, man. We really are. I mean, if you come up with a good plan, you know how to lead, you know how to connect a group, and they'll play hard for you. That's our job. But when the ball is snapped, it's the players making the plays. They're the ones running, blocking, tackling, throwing, catching. It's not us. And again, it's a humbling opinion of mine, and some coaches might disagree with me. But at the end of the day, this is a players' game, and that's why it's such a fun game to watch.
Love that. Players coach. Shout out to the player
The
coach.
visit of Clowney go. The door's still open. Can you give us any update on?
Yeah, good visit. Yeah, good visit. Talked to him again yesterday. This is one of those deals where it's a business decision, and there's two sides got to come together. And I think that.
So boom, first part of that, they asked about Jadeveon Clowney. Have you talked to him? He said it's a business decision. Both sides have to come together. Jadeveon Clowney is the only one that hasn't said yes, I'm ready. So the Cowboys have opened that door to make a move. Now the player has to choose to come here. Let's see what else he says.
It was a great visit, and we'll kind of see how it plays out. But it was great seeing him, catching up, and hearing about what he's doing. When I talked to him yesterday, he was cooking dinner for his kids and talked to them. And I think the son goes, "I don't know you." And I said, "Well, you might soon, So,
hey man, I don't want that to miss y'all, go over y'all head. Jadeveon Clowney news came out before I even went to New York. That happened, I think, on Tuesday. And Shotty just said that he spoke to him yesterday. This interview was today. So he said he spoke to him yesterday. Brian Schottenheimer is going above and beyond, man, with his job as it pertains to not only trying to help improve these dudes that we have on this team and on the field, even when he's doing with Mozzie, that tough love and making him really earn it, making him have to be consistent to get on that damn field, bro. The stuff that Shotty is doing with those players on the field, but also off the field. How he's really, you can really see his handprint all over the construction of this team and his roster. He is doing something. He just let us know he's doing something that I don't know if I remember hearing any of our old head coaches talking about doing, as it pertains to almost operating like another extension of the general manager, in the sense of like he's trying to help hammer these deals home with these guys. He's talking to these dudes even outside of the visits to the team and trying to establish relationships prior to have these guys feel comfortable playing in Dallas and let them know what the expectation is going to be. Oh man. Oh, Brian Schottenheimer is a blessing to the Cowboys community. I'm sorry. I don't care what none of y'all say. I truly, firmly believe Brian Schottenheimer is going to be that man that breaks that curse of, at minimum, getting us to the NFC Championship. If it's not this season, it's 100% going to be next year. That's how confident I am in what Brian Schottenheimer is as a head coach and what he's doing with this team. And y'all can stamp that. Y'all can clip it. Y'all can do whatever y'all want, bro. Archive it, because we're going to come back to this discussion at the end of the season next year or this year, depending on how this year goes.
I guess maybe is that my recruiting hat that I had on there. I'm back in college, I guess. But, yeah, just it was great to see.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Press on the playing timeline. I know it's still fluid, but has a decision already been made to not put him on IR, or is that still something we're working on?
Yeah, we don't think that that's what it's going to require. I'd say no decision's ever final, but we don't think it's going to be something that significant.
Last one.
Coach, I'll lead you on the MLS Cowboys. Last week Eagles, this week Giants. Is there like a greater emphasis when you make the players on these division games? Like the intensity?
He already answered that question. He answered that question earlier in the week. Let's see if he answers it the same exact way.
Like next week you're playing Chicago. Kind of just like touch on that.
Yeah, it's a great question. And again, there's no right or wrong answer. I believe that each game is another championship opportunity. Doesn't matter.
Yep. Same exact way he answered it earlier this week. He answered that question. Y'all got to start, man. Y'all got to start either being at all the press conferences or listening to his interviews to see what he's already been asked. So you're not wasting time asking him questions over again, man. Everybody has to do their homework, bro. I don't care what profession you in, what field you in, what part of life you in. You have to do your homework, especially when it involves your craft. You have to continue to try to get better at your craft and make sure that you're thoroughly informed. You're asking repeat questions that literally happened earlier in this week is crazy to me. But either way, man, Brian Schottenheimer, round of applause. Absolutely love this damn head coach, bro. All I got to say about him is, how about them Cowboys? Exactly, man. How about them Cowboys?
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boys? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Oh, shut up, my boy. Hey! I'm still them boys.